Man, what a car! 2024 Lamborghini Huracan Sterrato. This is the last naturally aspirated V10 ever produced, not just by Lamborghini, but any production car, the last NA V10. And it's in this very rugged, off-road focused Lamborghini Huracan, which I love. It's like what my buddy Fenton was saying, is that it looks like what Subaru wish it could, which I think is a great way of putting it. We're powered by a naturally aspirated V10 that's a 5.2 liter, making 610 horsepower, 417 pound-feet of torque. We have all-wheel drive with a lifted suspension, widened track, and flared wheel arches for off-road capability. We have magneto-rheological dampers, double wishbone, both front and rear, and it's weighing in a little bit over 3,600 pounds. The car is entirely stock. MSRP comes in just a little bit under $300,000. Market value you're going to see is around $290,000 to $350,000. And I got to say, this thing has some serious road presence. Such a cool car. You take a supercar, you give it some off-road flair and functionality, and I mean, these tires, as an example, don't quite have the longitudinal grip of proper summer tires. The tread blocks here, and we have a decent amount of sidewall, which is going to contribute to better ride comfort. Even this down here, look at these little details. They really styled this impeccably, in my opinion. Italian cars always have some flair to them. This is actually my first time reviewing a Lamborghini on the channel. I love that you have pull straps here, the theater of the start-stop underneath that cover, which my Lotus Emira copied from Lamborghini clearly, except here, this one will actually stay up, whereas in the Emira, you have to like use your two fingers like I was doing earlier. A very unique and purpose-built cabin, although I wish I could say the same about the key, which looks just like my girlfriend's 2011 Audi S4 key. But I love the color of these seats, the yellow, the green, just the design is impeccable, the carbon fiber. They're also quite comfortable, and you're sitting very low. In terms of driving position though, you're gonna notice that the windshield feels a mile away. I am 6'1", I'm sitting a little bit further back than most people might, but even still, it is really far away, and you feel cocooned. These side sills here are not too high. It's not quite as claustrophobic as something like the Camaro, but it's not far off, especially looking through the front windshield. Also hilarious to me that with that snorkel, you really can't use the rear view at all. This is like just a remnant. It's like a vestigial organ of the regular Huracan. You can see a little bit on the side, those slats there, but mostly useless. You're gonna have to adjust your side views in a way that you can see a little bit in the back. But I love the design of this, the theater, the details, the switches. It's just like, it feels like such an occasion just getting inside the vehicle. Got these huge column-mounted paddles that have a relatively crisp actuation, slightly longer throws. And we're gonna start in Strada, which is their comfort mode, if you will. Because we have these column-mounted paddles, you don't have a stock for your turn signal, for your windshield wipers. You have buttons here instead on the steering wheel. The nice thing that this is raised, you don't have to worry so much about scraping like you would in a normal supercar. And first impressions, in Strada mode here, this is incredibly comfortable. Softer suspension with the thicker sidewalls. This is very compliant, very comfortable, very tame. Look how quiet this engine is just puttering around in automatic. And then, click this button down into sport mode. Hit M here for manual. Oh, as she comes to life. Wow, completely different personalities. Suspension firms up, huge magnitude shift. Which is, oops, I forgot to cancel this, you gotta press this in. There we go. Huge magnitude shift, so you get multiple personalities from the car, which I absolutely love. tame and mild and calm, and then it can wake up into this beast. Listen to that engine. Gotta brake really early because remember, the tires are not as grippy as regular sports car summer tires. Now, the brakes here, first of all, the brake pedal is closer to you than the throttle. And also, it's not very linear. The initial brake travel is not super grabby, and then it ramps up. So I'm finding myself having a bit of a learning curve to be smooth with the brakes. It's not a natural one-to-one experience like with modern Porsches, as an example. Wow, the engine being right here behind you, though, for 3,600 pounds, this feels quite agile and willing to change directions. That 7-speed DCT, immediate with the shifts, and giving you that Italian theater, that little jolt in your back as you shift between gears, little torque dip. And that sound. Haven't even gone to that 8,500 RPM red line. There we go. What a fun street car, man. No, you're not going to be taking this to the track. Super direct and precise steering, a bit on the light side, but a nice natural ratio. I was worried it would be overly quick, overly boosted, but it's not. It's sad that we have to say goodbye to the naturally aspirated V10. Oh, the sound, the way it builds to red line, it just eggs you on to push it harder. Steering not talking that much to me, but I'm not surprised. I mean, look at the tires on this thing. And of course we have electric power assist, which already is going to be muted versus something that is hydraulic. These downshifts and upshifts are just immediate. This is like PDK level good, just with a little bit more theater. Maybe not the same level of smoothness. Again, the Italian philosophy there is just different. Man, what a car. And then just like that, when you get stuck behind a Corolla, you put it into Strada, and the suspension softens significantly. You feel far less of the road texture. The car gets so much more quiet and comfortable. This is a car that, if you have a special lady, she's not going to complain about the comfort or the noise in this thing as you go to your special date night. What a dual purpose, dual personality car. So versatile, and I fucking love it. And then like that, put it into sport. There's even a rally setting that also allows for like more slip angle. Also has a softer suspension, allows for a little bit more body roll too. It's also surprising how sharp the front end feels, even in Strada mode, because when the dampers are in the softer setting, you would expect that the front end won't feel so sharp, but it's still quite responsive. I mean, you go to sport, you can feel the difference. Oh man. The level of theater, man. I mean, this car doesn't take itself too seriously. Just look at the thing, right? What a cool car. I reviewed a Maserati MC20 not too long ago on the channel, and that's a car that has a lot of things going for it, right? It has more communicative steering than this. It is so planted and so confidence inspiring as you push it, but it's a turbo V6. And there's just something about a supercar having a naturally aspirated mid-engine howl and scream and just theater that, man, this car gives you in spades. It is just such a cool car. And back to Sterrato we go, in comfort and quiet. Now it's interesting, when you start driving more of these cars, you notice the philosophy of these countries are different. So I made a video on why Japanese and German cars feel different. And here we'll talk about German versus Italian, right? Italian, it's a little bit more of a passionate culture, a little bit more, there's more flair to it, and that comes across in the cars as well. So the intensity of the Italian people, you can feel in the vehicles when you get behind the wheel, from the philosophy of how they want to make you feel each of the shifts, each of the upshifts with that tiny little torque dip between shifts, kick you in the back of your seat, to the way that the interior is designed. The flair here, the theater here, the paddles being massive and having this, these stylized holes here. The brakes not quite as linear, not quite as natural. They require a bit of a learning curve. It's not the German precision and the attention to detail in the same way. It's a different way of saying, let's have fun and make you feel things rather than impress you with the level of surgical precision. And the cool thing is, you go to a gravel lot like this and you see some rocks, like, not a big deal. I'm in my Sterrato, I can just drive over them, no issue. And luckily, of course, we have a reverse cam, because imagine trying to reverse with just this thing in your side views. Oh man. What a car, super cool. What a unique supercar experience. I really love what Lamborghini has done here with the Sterrato. Big shout out to Dorian, the owner, for letting me review his car. Shout out to Fenton from the Zygreen channel for making this review possible. My friends, if you want your car reviewed, visit us on jabalandcars.com. Fill out the form on the homepage. Much love, and I'll see you all in that next one.